Welcome to Filling You In, a dental podcast with A Squared, where dentist entrepreneurs and spouses, Dr. Anushka Gaglani and Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj, welcome industry experts and innovators to explore trends in business practices, patient care, career development, and what it takes to be successful in dentistry.
Hi everyone, it's Dr. Anushka Gaglani and Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj here. Today we want to talk about something that's still very much a work in progress for us, our leadership and management philosophy at Areo. So the truth is we're far from perfect and we're still learning every single day, but over time through trial and error, a lot of reflection, and a lot of honest feedback, we've built a framework that helps us stay consistent even as we grow. What we're going to share today isn't about having it all figured out. It's about how we're trying to lead with more clarity, more empathy, and more structure so we can help our teams thrive while still holding high standards. So when we hire, we look for a trajectory, not just talent. We care more about where someone is headed rather than where they've been. At Areo, we do abide by our 5 core values, which are be humble, stay hungry, pursue excellence, act with urgency, and own your stuff. And those are our compass. We have realized in the last 10 years we've been doing this that we can teach technical skills, but we can't teach heart, curiosity, or grit. One of our best hires, as an example, came from a candidate who didn't have the perfect background, but she radiated ownership and enthusiasm. Within a year, that person became one of our strongest practice leaders because they aligned with our core values and were willing to learn fast.
Tracking performance and rewarding growth, how do we do that? Obviously, these are 2 very important aspects of any business, more specifically in a dental business. Performance is tracked differently across every department because excellence looks pretty different for every role. You know, we have doctors tracking their own case acceptance, same-day care, diagnostic rates, production per visit, production per exam, the number of exams, and so on and so forth. Hygienists track Curodont, which is a preventive therapy, fluoride acceptance, perio percentage, and reappointment rates. The call center tracks average call time, conversion rate, and cancellation rates. We use both leading and lagging indicators, meaning we measure what leads to success, not just the result. For example, improving diagnostic rate, which is a leading indicator, will naturally improve production, which is a lagging indicator. It was in the past. Our goal is transparency at the end of the day. Everyone knows what's being measured and why. And it's not about catching mistakes. It's about connecting actions to outcomes. And we recognize progress, not just perfection. When someone grows, we celebrate it. Ultimately, as the famous saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. Now, there is a framework that we use and this took a lot of iteration over time and a lot of learning from great people and great mentors on how to manage people. And we put them into 3 different buckets: A players, B players, and C players. Not as labels. These are not labels, but it's a coaching framework essentially. And this is how we kind of teach our leaders how to manage their team members. A players are obviously our leaders. They live the values, they own outcomes, and elevate everyone around them. You don't have to chase them, they chase excellence. B players are steady and dependable. They're capable and committed, but they need a little push, more confidence, more training, more clarity. When you invest in them, they often can become your next A players. C players are those who consistently resist feedback or don't align with the culture. They may be talented, but if their attitude or behavior drains the team, it's a net negative at the end of the day. We coach B's up, we try to help C's turn around, but if that doesn't work, we make the hard decision to let them go. Because keeping a C player sends the message that culture and accountability don't matter. I've seen the energy of an entire team shift for the better once that one misaligned person was gone. We generally plot A, B, and C players on a quadrant, and that way we can see what kind of support any specific player needs in a team.
Yeah, I think the A, B, and C has been really crucial for us in understanding, right? We talk about, what was that thing, Abhishek, that they found on basketball teams, that every basketball team had a similarly talented A player, but it's how good the B players were that made the difference between how well a team did.
Right on. Absolutely. I think there has to be a framework for coaching up and supporting the B players, because sometimes the Bs, when you actually go a little bit into the nitty gritty, Anushka, I think there are Bs that have high capability but low commitment, and there are Bs that have high commitment but low capabilities. And so it's not a cookie cutter system.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it ourselves. So another framework we use is actually the skill versus will matrix. When performance dips, or when someone starts out, we always start out with one question. Is it skill or is it will? So if it's a skill issue, that means they want to do it but don't yet know how. Maybe they haven't been trained or don't have the right tools, and that's on leadership. We or our leaders step in, train, and support. Essentially, we want to make sure that we are telling people, we can't just assume that they know something. We want to go in and ask them, do they know how to do it? Do they know what to do? Has someone taught them? Again, coaching is super crucial in this stage. Now, a will issue means they can do it and they've been trained, but they won't. That's about attitude, accountability, or ownership. Again, we always try coaching first. Sometimes what looks like a will issue is actually burnout, confusion, or fear. But once we've clarified expectations and offered support and the behavior still doesn't change, that's when we know it's truly a will problem. I really like this framework because it helps keep us fair and objective. It stops us from overtraining when it's not a skill issue, and from overcoaching when someone simply doesn't want to be coached. Another model that we use is the leaf, branch, trunk, root decision-making model. Now, this model is super helpful with our team to help them understand which decisions they can make and which need alignment, which decisions need to come to us. Obviously, we cannot be in charge of making every single decision across the company because we would be on our phones and on emails all day long, and we wouldn't be able to look into the strategy of the company. So here's how it works. Leaf decisions are small, reversible, and low risk. So things like ordering supplies, we allow DAs to do that. Of course, the supplies need approval, but they're allowed to go in and put in what they need. Maybe adjusting the schedule slightly. Team members can just do these. Branch decisions affect others but aren't irreversible, like changing patient flow or updating a communication protocol or closing an office when a doctor is not available. These require collaboration or quick check-ins. Trunk decisions have major impact, things like hiring, firing, or restructuring. Those come to leadership. The root decisions, they have to come to ownership. Anything that affects the company's direction, structure, or financial stability. This model builds judgment. It gives people the freedom to act while maintaining alignment and eliminates the bottleneck of, let me ask my manager for every small thing.
You know, I love this framework because the level of clarity it's brought to a lot of our leaders and operations leaders or practice leaders is immeasurable. They actually know what to come to us for or not to come to us for. So it's an incredible framework. I really like it.
And it allows us to empower them and let them make decisions and feel like they have a say without again, with the root and the trunk decisions not completely destroying the entire company. So they're allowed to make those decisions and feel empowered to do so.
Now, Anushka, we should talk about conflict because conflict is a part of every business.
Yeah.
Right. And we had to come up with some frameworks and approach to conflict management. In the past, we used to jump in and try to fix every conflict ourselves. Now we've learned that healthy teams need to handle smaller issues like adults and be in adult communication all the time. If it's a minor misunderstanding, we ask team members to clear it up directly with each other first. And if they can't resolve it, or if it keeps recurring, then we step in to mediate. We also coach our teams to pause and ask, is this ignorance or malice? Most of the time, people aren't being difficult. They're just unaware. Ignorance is fixable. Malice rarely ever is. That mindset shift has dramatically improved how our teams handle conflict. It's made the culture more mature, more self-sufficient, more self-reliant. And it truly comes down to what is this conflict on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it a 1 that being a very low level conflict, or is it a 9 or a 10? And depending on that, the teams have clarity on when we need to step in, when leadership needs to step in, versus when the team member should just be handling it themselves.
Yeah, I remember in the beginning of our journey, people used to tell us that people issues were going to be the biggest part of our business, and I don't think we realized that. And that's absolutely true. Not with us necessarily, but with each other. When you put
Right.
a group of people together, absolutely, there's always conflict, and I think this has been very, very helpful for them to understand. Again, going into adult communication, that as people, we are going to have misunderstandings. How do we get past those by managing the conflict?
Exactly.
So when we realize someone's probably not going to fit, maybe they're doing something because of malice, or it's a will issue, maybe sometimes a skill issue. We do go to that person. We've trained our practice leaders also to go to that person and say, "Hey, after multiple times of coaching, hey, you might not be a good fit here." If nothing is corrected and they don't self-correct, then at that point we go to them and we say, "You probably are not going to be a good fit here." And the third time, if there's still no improvement, that's when we have that final conversation and say, "You are not going to be a good fit here. It's time for you to move on, and you will definitely thrive elsewhere." Right? That doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're not going to do well somewhere else. You're just not going to do well here. And we mean it. Most of the time, that's exactly what happens. They do go on to find roles that suit them better. I think the vast majority of people have left on good terms, and it's been mutual, but occasionally someone takes it personally, becomes defensive, or even vindictive. I don't know about you, Abhishek, but that used to affect me deeply. I think I've learned that we can't be responsible for other people's emotions. Our job as leaders is to handle things with clarity and grace and not guilt. We do our best to be kind, fair, and transparent. And after that, how someone chooses to react is honestly out of our control.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head on this, right? I think sometimes we have to, you nailed it when you said we try to end employment gently, because it is personal to people at the end of the day. Nobody wants to be fired. I know I don't, right? But at the end of the day, we always tell them, "Hey, you're going to be successful somewhere else." And so sometimes just because they weren't successful here doesn't mean they do become successful elsewhere. Right.
Absolutely.
So it's really cool to see that. And those people come back to us 2, 3, 4 years down the line and said, "You were right. I had these issues that I never fixed, and I've introspected now. And thank you so much for doing that for me." And that's a beautiful feeling at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So that's a look at how we're trying. Keyword is trying to lead at Areo. We're still learning every single day, but these systems, hiring for trajectory, tracking the right metrics, understanding A players, B players versus C players, using the skill versus will matrix, and empowering people through structured decision making gives us a foundation. Leadership isn't about being perfect at the end of the day. It's about being intentional, consistent, and willing to evolve. Because at the end of the day, your systems create your culture, and your culture determines your success. If you take care of culture, it takes care of revenue. Thanks for tuning in. And if this helped you think about leadership a little bit differently, share it with another leader who's figuring it out too. I think we're all figuring it out at the end of the day. We're all learning, and the more we share, the better we all get. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching this episode of Filling You In, where we uncover the insights, trends, and stories shaping the dental industry. If you like this podcast, please share it on your social channels and visit Areo Dental Group on LinkedIn or on Instagram @Areo Dental Group. You can also subscribe to the series and check out all of our episodes on this YouTube channel or at areodental.com/podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and let's keep elevating the dental field together.